Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to my fantasy booking warfare version of the retirement of Chris Jericho, a fantasy booking warfare topic suggested by Pledgehammer, the Mayor of Painesville, Dan. If you want to vote in future fantasy booking warfare topic ideas, head over to Patreon, where you will have the capability to do that, and of course pledge. Now, this is the first new way of us doing fantasy booking warfare. This video is my video, but Luke's version has gone up in a different video that went live at exactly the same time. You can vote for either pitch by clicking the eyes above our head. But please do watch both because that's only fair. But for now, let's hear mine. So as a bit of context, this is not in any current world. It kind of uses the same people, but this is not attached to any storylines that are going on right now. But the time frame is the end of Backlash, like after Backlash through to SummerSlam. It's those kind of summer 3-4 months. But yes, it could take place conceivably any time in the next 3 years. So, Prologue. Around May time, the lights will keep cutting out completely at random times on Raw, and only once an episode for 4 weeks. And what comes up on screen on the Titantron is random letters and symbols changing fonts. But none of those fonts are ever anything Jericho's used in the past. They're just random ones. So you can kind of work it out for yourself, but if you're not familiar with Jericho's you could be caught by surprise when it does. The reveal eventually happens. So the first week, all the symbols and characters become who ? Is. So that's just it. And then the second week, you have the who ? Is. And then, after that, it changes to many, with the Y at the end of many, but loads of Ys after that, two faces. So that. And then the third week is the only week where it's interrupting an actual match. All the others have just been during links or entrances. This is during an actual match. It's a Sami Zayn match on Raw, and it has the who is, it has the many two faces, and then it has our Savior. And then it comes back up, and Sami still wins despite that distraction. And the fourth week, it has the who is, many two faces, r.savior, and then it all becomes save, and at that point it becomes the Y2J style font, and the last two symbols run for ages to build the crowd anticipation because they all know what's coming. It's save.us, which is of course a reference to Chris Jericho's Y2J gimmick when he came to WWF in the first place. And then after that fourth graphic, that fourth bit of text, the letters change to The Return of Jericho next week. Part 1. The Many Baby Faces of Jericho. So this is the following week on Raw, and all of the text runs, so the who is, the many two faces, etc. And after save.us, the exact same countdown graphics from Jericho's Raw debut in 1999 begin. And it counts down, all with the old music, and pyro hits, everything, even Pyro's back, and he walks down in exactly the same costume. Even though he's got different hair now, it is all the same as his WWE debut all those years ago, in full Y2J specific gimmick. It's the same, even the same Titantron up on the video screen. And he gets into the ring, everyone's really happy to see him, they're just giving him loads of applause, respectful veteran applause, and he cuts a super baby face, but genuine, like Mark Henry retirement style promo, where he's just saying, it's great to be back, like, there is nothing like the WWE, and then he just runs through a few Jericho catchphrases to pop the crowd, but then it's time to get serious, Jerichoholics, because he still like pops in little bits here and there. Over his life, he's had many runs, many faces of Jericho, many different characters. I've been a WCW Cruiserweight. I've gone to beating Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night. I was the first ever undisputed champion, damn it. And I've had a great go of it. But now, after all these years, it's time to call it a day. But Jericho doesn't slowly die out. He goes out with a bang, baby! Not Adam Cole. So he announces his farewell tour, and it's going to be a greatest hits tour. It's the retirement of Jericho, man. And because he's been given so many incredible opportunities throughout his career, he wants to pay it back. He wants to give someone new a leg up to that main event scene. Just like how Rock and Austin and all those people helped him to become the legend he is today. He wants to make a top star on his way out. And then he leaves humbly applauding the crowd. Really, really, being nice and genuine. It's, this shouldn't come across like a scripted promo. Now, the next week on Raw, we begin the trials. Jericho, like Michael Cole or someone announces this, Jericho has set 4 matches to happen over the next 4 weeks, each with a 10-minute time limit to them, and it will be against Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Chad Gable. They're effectively exhibition matches, and after he's wrestled those 4, he will decide who will get to retire him, who will be his retirement match, because he's looking for the person with the most promise so he can create a new star on the way out. His first match is against Finn Balor, and Finn Balor comes out, and then a video package runs, and it is a video package on like one of those really good documentary WWE style things on Y2J, and how Y2J first debuted with the countdown and the Rock promo and everything, and it contextualizes that gimmick, and Y2J comes out in full gimmick with the full entrance. They have a good, respectful match, ends in a time limit draw. The 2 shake hands afterwards. The next week is with Seth Rollins. Same again, video package, but this time for Lionheart, his old cruiserweight gimmick. Again, good, respectful match, time limit draw, 2 shake hands afterwards. Then we get Sami Zayn, and we get the list version of Jericho. I know it was a heel version, but it was super over. So Jericho's joking around with the list at the start of the match, and he's playing it up to the crowd, and Sami's like, treating it a bit like an exhibition match as well. But then Sami does actually take quite a lot of the match, and Jericho starts to get a little bit flustered. And at one point, about 8 minutes in, remember this is a 10-minute time limit match, they're on the ropes for a rope break spot, just because Sami's grappled him into the corner, and Sami backs away, but Jericho just instinctively slaps him across the face. But he immediately apologizes. He says, whoa, sorry, it's because I've got something in my eye, like he's actually got a scratch on his eye, and he's in the corner, and Sami goes for the haluva kick, but Jericho brings the referee in front of him because he's got the eye problem, and it goes to a time limit draw. But it looked like Sami could have won that there, and Sami's frustrated, but he's like, fair play. The two shake hands, and Jericho's still selling his eye, and he raises Sami's hand. Then Chad Gable versus the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller. So again, video package, good respectful match, time limit draw, 2 shake hands afterwards. Jericho stays in the ring to cut a promo afterwards. He says, Chad Gable, you're going to be a star in this company. Amazing. Finn Balor, you're amazing. Seth Rollins, but my choice for the man who I want to retire me is Sami Zayn. Come out here, Sami. Sami comes down. And Jericho explains to him, look, Matt, I feel really bad about the red and that scratch ending. We can have a classic. You are the man to retire me. I want you to retire me. But you're going to have to bring your A game. You've had many start and stop pushes and runs in WWE. I need you to bring everything. I need you to take this opportunity like I took every opportunity that was given to me. And Sami's like, I'm the man for you. Yes. So Money in the Bank. It's the last match of Jericho. Bring it on, man. And they hug, and Sami is super humbled, and it's been very nice. So Money in the Bank. It's easy to write down. They have an absolute classic. But you would design this match to be like a 20-minute excellent babyface match. That with that hope in mind. So. And it's a lot more evenly matched this time round because it's not the exhibition style that Jericho was running through. And Jericho's being very by the rules, and they're both letting each other have rope breaks, backing away when someone's down, letting them stand up. But Sami dominates the last 3 minutes of this very good long match, and Jericho's getting flustered, and there's a few close, really close pinfalls, and Jericho scrambles away from each one. Suddenly it looks like he's having second thoughts. It looks like he doesn't want to be retired. And Sammy goes for the haluva kick, but this time Jericho drags the referee fully in the way. So Sammy stops, and then Jericho low blows Sammy for the DQ loss, because it was right in front of the referee, with a knee to the nuts. And he's just screaming at Sammy, saying, "You think this is the way I go? I'm a legend. I'm a goddamn legend." And he just starts delivering multiple code breakers to Sammy, while lots of people are running out trying to stop the match. And then he puts Sammy in the walls of Jericho. He brings that into a lion tamer, so even more brutal looking. But a chair is wrapped around Sammy's neck. So it's got the pain of the back and the pain of the pressure on Sammy's neck. The leverage is just pushing his face into the steel. And like, you've got the WWE agents of Fit Finlay and Dave out there trying to break it up. Jericho looks crazed. New Japan Kenny Omega level crazed, and then some. Part 2. The many heels of Chris Jericho. It's the second part of the Greatest Hits tour. So Jericho comes out the next night on Raw, and he's doing quiet. You know, this is completely different. But then he starts to ask things like, who is Chris Jericho? And he refers to himself as we. We've got many faces. We're a rock star. We're the first ever undisputed champion. It becomes apparent that Jericho has completely lost it. He's got like some form of split personality. And all those different characters over the years weren't gimmicks and ways to reinvent himself. They're the fractured parts of his mind. It's all one way to retcon all of Jericho's career into one consistent psychopathic madman. And as he's doing all this, he continues to flick between these gimmicks, and the catchphrases, like someone skipping TV channels. And he's like, who is Chris Jericho? I'm a legend, and legends don't retire to weak-willed, stupid idiots like Sami Zayn. I was never handed anything. I had to take it. I'm the guy who walked out on WCW TV every night, calling out Goldberg week after week. I'm the guy who beat Rock and Austin in the same night. I had to be the best in the world at what I do. I earned and I took opportunities. It's not all about being a nice guy, and that's where you're weak, Sammy. You don't have that competitive edge. That's why you didn't finish me last night. So I challenge you, Sammy, right now. Come down here, be a man, and retire me. Like, that's almost his catchphrase. Retire me, Sammy. But there's no one answers, because that's what I'm talking about. You've got no killer instinct. Like, I've got a killer instinct like this. And he grabs the cameraman from the ring apron. And he goes, leverage, Sammy. This is called leverage, you stupid idiot. Retire me right now, or I'll break this guy's back. The Raw GM comes out, whoever it is, and says, let him go. You know full well Sammy is in hospital recovering right now from what happened last night. The injury you gave him. Let the cameraman go. And Jericho says, this is a gift, Sammy. A lesson of Jericho. Drink it in, man. And then he hits a code breaker on the guy anyway, locks in the walls. Everyone's trying to get him off, and Jericho's crazed again, just shouting at the camera. So next week opens with Michael Cole's serious voice. Sami Zayn has, of course, been rehabbing Jericho's vicious assault at Money in the Bank, and he's been training at the Performance Center. And last Thursday, Zayn was for once not at the Performance Center, preparing for his in-ring return. He was getting a medical in Birmingham, Alabama, but Jericho broke into the Performance Center to find him. We have this footage, and it cuts to Jericho breaking into the Performance Center, and he's screaming for Sammy, but he knows Sammy isn't there. He knows Sammy's not there. He could have come at any day that Sammy wasn't there. And he walks in on some Performance Center trainees, and he says he's going to give them a lesson from a legend. You need a killer instinct, the thing that Sami Zayn lacks. And he gets one guy in a lion tamer for ages, and people are trying to break it off. He punches a referee out cold. It's just manic. And as he's walking out, Regal confronts him. He throws Regal through a glass door. That's like your bloody action bit, and Jericho is suspended because of this. The week after, Cole shows more footage because Jericho has done the same thing at NXT, but this time Sammy was there, and they start fighting, but Jericho targets Sammy's back, it's still injured, and starts beating down Sammy, and he kind of gives him a lesson. This is how you become a legend round the NXT Performance Center, gives him different classes, promo classes, yada, yada, yada. And then the week after that, even though he's battered and bruised, Sammy challenges Jericho for an Extreme Rules match and a pre-recorded promo. And then the go-home, well, it's not really an angle, just a go-home video package is Jericho accepting, because you know what I wrestled in ECW. You don't even know the meaning of the word. This is just another lesson I'm going to have to give you to make you the best you can possibly be. Retire me, Sammy. Retire me. So they have the Extreme Rules match. It is brutal, but Sammy is still injured from his beatdown. Jericho gets the better of him because of this. Loads of hardcore spots. And the end comes when Sammy actually manages... There's an opening. Sammy puts the chair around Jericho's neck, like at the end of the Money in the Bank match, but to Jericho, and he sets him up in the corner for a haluva kick onto the chair. But he pauses. He has a conscience, and he's like, no, I'm letting the hate consume me. I'm letting Jericho get to me. But he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And he runs at Jericho. But Jericho, by this point, has regained his composure, throws the chair at Sammy, and he hits a codebreaker for the win. So, part 3, the retirement of Jericho. Man. So, Sammy is now, he is back in the training camp with Kevin Owens. Their faces, by the way. Kevin Owens could be whatever. And Sammy's just being like, who is Chris Jericho? He's a legend, sure. He's the best in the world at what he does. And this has all taught me I've got to be better. I've got to be better, not only of myself, not just what Sami Zayn does, I've got to be the best in the world at what Chris Jericho does. So I challenge you, Chris Jericho, for a final retirement match at SummerSlam, where I won't just retire you, I will make you say, I quit. So the next several weeks are training videos of Sammy perfecting Chris Jericho's moveset. The Lion Salt, the Codebreaker, all Jericho's trademark moves apart from the walls. You don't see any of that, but the commentators keep speculating like, this is an I quit match. You need a really good submission move. Sammy doesn't really have that in his arsenal. He's not really known as a submission wrestler. So maybe we'll see it, but we haven't seen any evidence of it. So Sammy keeps on putting over in these promos how he's not going to cheat, how he's not going to play into Jericho's game. He is just going to be better. Jericho's saying, you're a fool. I chose you, Sammy, to retire me so I could make you the new Y2J. And Sammy's like, I'm not the next Chris Jericho. I'm the first Sami Zayn. And then we get to the SummerSlam I Quit match. And the match is structured around Jericho keeps trying to cheat. But every time Sammy has it scouted, he dodges the low blows, he blocks the finger pokes, he kicks the feet off the ropes in dodgy pins. He is being the better man. He's being better than Jericho cheating. And he's also hitting Jericho's moveset to devastating effect. And they go back and forth for a while. The referee gets knocked down at a point, and Jericho gets a chair and tries to throw it at Sammy just like he did in the previous match. But Sammy dodges, whips Jericho into the ropes, and he's the one who ends up with the chair. There's now a stare down between Jericho, chairless, and Sami Zayn holding the steel, and there's a tense spot where they're both looking at each other, and Jericho is screaming, massive grin on his face, do it! Retire me! Retire me, Sammy! Retire me! Sammy looks at Jericho, he looks at the chair, and then he throws the chair out the ring. And Jericho screams, you're a stupid idiot! He runs at Sami Zayn, Blue Thunder Bomb. Jericho ends up in the corner. Sammy hits a haluva kick. Jericho falls on the floor. He's a limp body. To be honest, he was beaten the moment that Sammy threw the chair out of the ring, because it was a moral victory, not one of physicality. Sammy's looking down at Jericho's body, and here he realizes this is the end. He wipes a tear away from his eye. Then he puts Chris Jericho in the walls of Jericho. He leans back as far as he can go, and the ref is now up. He's got the mic, and Jericho just whispers into it, I quit. Zayn falls down at the end, and he helps Jericho up to a sitting position, and Jericho extends their hand. They still sitting down on the mat, and they shake, and then they hug, and Jericho gets a full babyface send-off, soaking up the applause in the ring. He has created a new star. He's done it better. He's created a new Sami Zayn.
So that was Oli's pitch. If you want to see my pitch, you want to click the video that has just appeared here. Make sure that you've watched both videos and then make your very informed decision about which one you thought was the better pitch for Chris Jericho's retirement. Obviously, I think mine is better.